Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining, especially as the last panel of the day. But nevertheless, we hope we're going to deliver an interesting talk for you from the perspective from the students. That's also why our short keynote is about Generation Bitcoin, which is Gen Zers like Jordy and myself. Little short intro on us. I'm the co-founder and president of the European Students Blockchain Coalition, and Jordy is leading our Dutch brand in the Netherlands. We advocate for student participation within industry events like this, and we deliver talks and keynotes on stages like this. Very short about the coalition. It's basically the leading European network of student blockchain associations in Europe. So we both founded a student coalition in our own city in the Netherlands. And we went to a lot of industry events like these, but what we experienced is that there is a lot of, that there was no real connection among European students. So that's why we founded the European Students Coalition, which is basically fostering the student blockchain clubs in Europe. In short, we are around 6+ countries, so basically all the major ones you can think of. We roughly have a reach of 1,000 students, and we organize a lot of student side events or other conferences throughout the year, which we currently, our last event, for example, was at the Paris Blockchain Week, which was also a very nice event for the students. In short, about today, we basically come from the history that every generation basically receives a map on how you should go about with your wealth. And for decades is that the Europe's financial system came with clear directions, right? Save your money, watch it grow, work hard, and own your home, which is actually also rhyming very conveniently. Previous generations didn't just have the access to these routes, the system was just designed to carry them. So in short, the route and the system we come from is basically first the route 1 is the savings, route 2 is to get a house, to accumulate the wealth, and route 3 is basically the retirement. The roads haven't changed on paper, but the conditions on the ground basically did change, and that's where Jordy is gonna dive in specifically on each and every topic on the specific routes, because as Gen Zers, these routes have changed over time. So we will go into the saving parts, the housing, and the pension. Jordy, without further ado, we'll give it to you.
Thank you, Vince. Yes, so we're gonna take you on a little road trip, actually. As Vince already mentioned, these routes that we had in the past are not longer really available for us as Generation Bitcoin, as I like to call myself. And how that's actually ended up there, we're gonna discuss in the couple next minutes. So first one is the savings. And basically, to show you what is wrong with savings nowadays, I only need this graph. So what you can see on this graph is basically 2 lines. The blue one being the ECB deposit facility rate. To put it more simple, it's basically the interest you get on your savings in Europe. And the green one is actually the inflation that we see year over year in Europe as well. So what happens when you want to accumulate wealth via savings? The inflation needs to be lower than the rate you're actually getting on your savings. Otherwise, the real interest rate, so what your money actually is worth, is decreasing. And as you can see on this graph, we see the red bars in between over the years, and those were actually the moments in time over the last 25 years where you actually lost your purchasing power yeah, during that period. So we see like most of the times it was actually not benefiting you to put your money in savings because you're basically losing value. And to put it more simple, even with an example. So let's say in the year 1999, you had 10,000 euros which you put in your savings account. The interest, which you saw on the previous slide, sometimes was 2%, sometimes a bit higher, sometimes a bit lower. But if you compound that 25 years later, you would have earned 3,250 euro, so 32.5% nominal gain on that 10,000 euros. But what actually happened, if you look at your real purchasing power, so the value that you can actually buy something for at that moment in time, so in 2025, it would actually be worth 7,500 euros. So the same things you could have bought in 1999 for 10,000 euros, now you can only buy those things for 7,500 euros. So this basically shows that savings is not working. So that road is closed, unfortunately for us. Okay, but what can we do next? We can look at the housing. Okay, don't know about you, but I'm still desperately trying to find a house that I can actually afford to by myself instead of renting. And what happens, I have another graph for you, is basically if we compare the nominal wage of the age group of 25 to 35, we saw that if you compare that to the nominal housing price in that time, it would be roughly 4 to 5 times your annual income. So if you take your wage at the time for the whole year, you multiply that by 5, that would be the median house. That would be the worth of a medium house. And if we look over the time, again from 2000s to 2024, we see that ratio actually increased massively to almost 10 times the price to income. So a house of median house, so we're still comparing the same parameters, is now worth almost 10 times the annual income you have. So that also explains why we maybe have to have two people in your households to actually be able to afford a home. That's this graph basically shows it. So we can see also in that period of time, the median wage grew by 68%, but the houses grew by 224%. So that's a massive difference. That's you basically can't keep up with. So yet again, the housing route has also been closed. Okay, and then pensions. So maybe you found a way to buy your home. You had some savings. You got there eventually, but still, of course, when in a few decades in the future, when you're old and you want to retire, you also want to be assured that you have a stable income and that you can actually live a comfortable life from that, as you worked all your life hard, I can imagine, to get there. But there are some things happening that makes that future for our generation really vulnerable. As we can see on this graph, in 1970 we saw that the average worker per elderly was around 4 persons. So there were 4 persons working for you as an elderly in retirement. But due to the increase of elderly and also the decrease of working people, we see that this trend is really decreasing massively. It is projected that in the year 2100, it actually only 1.5 working people per elderly. So they have to contribute more to this pension system to give those people a comfortable retirement.
Freelancer, and you see that more than half of the Europeans are also, especially Gen Zers, are freelancing. And again, like if I look at myself, you see that Gen Zers just like way more the flexibility. But yet again, the contribution base of the GDP is reducing there,
Yes.
because basically a lot of the other Gen Zers are basically not contributing to the pension system in this way, which is also a very important point
Yes.
you mentioned there.
Yeah. Yeah. I also
Just
see
wanted
it.
to add that.
Oh yeah, sure. No, I also see it for myself. I'm also freelancing besides my actual part-time job. Also because the reliability and the safety you used to have from your retirement and to actually contribute that via working for that boss or for that company is not that reliable for us anymore. So we also look for other alternatives with freelancing, with gig work, to just give ourselves some financial security. And to move on, so those roads yet again closed. And then to give you a little case, little inside story of the Netherlands, the government was like, okay, we see these things happening and we want to help this generation move forward in their life. So they came up with a student loan system. And basically what that meant is, okay, you can take a loan with us and then we can provide you with the education you need. It's a really good loan actually. They really try to market it to us really massively. Good marketing team there at the government of the Netherlands. So they said, yeah, there's no interest rates on it, so you don't pay any interest. It's flexible in repayment. It's based on, okay, how much you're actually making once you're working, and then we're taking just a percentage of that. So it's never, you can always afford it. And if your income is too low, you don't even have to repay it yet. And it's just an investment for you, for your personal growth and for your future. So it's really wise to take on this loan and prepare yourself and make sure you have a bright future ahead. So what all us students did, myself including, don't know if it's the same for you, Vince, we took on that loan. And a few years forward, what happened, it was during the COVID times, you might remember it, but the interest rates on bonds skyrocketed. And the loans that were attached to those student loans were also based on Dutch government bonds. So the government had no other choice to also raise the interest rates on those student loans. We were not really aware that that was actually possible. So it was really a big surprise for us. And what also was the case, that was promised to us, is that those student loans were separate from when applying for a mortgage. So they would not be taken into account. But also that promise was broken by the government.
And I think that's the most important one, that the student debt just affected directly housing eligibility from Gen Zers like ourselves. So indeed, everything basically that was promised, the reality was very different.
Yeah. Let's move on. And then another story that also got quite some attention in Europe is the unrealized gains tax. So let's say, as a student, you managed to get some wealth, maybe by investing in Bitcoin, or you did something else really smart. And in the Netherlands, we had basically, to keep it short, we had this pretty simple income tax of a wealth tax, where they assumed a certain yield that you were making, and based on that, they charged you 36%. So the effective rate was roughly 1 to 2%. But as all good things, they decided to change it again, and they came with a tax on unrealized gains. So now, with Bitcoin specifically, of course, with the volatility, you can have a year that's really good, a year that's really bad, but you still have to pay on that gain you maybe didn't even realize. And what happens with that is, maybe in this first slide, you see, okay, we made some assumption on, okay, let's say you have 5 Bitcoin in the beginning of 2028, and we assume a certain volatility in the market and a certain growth rate. You would still see that for the two different scenarios, the one you would have roughly 6 million, and in the other, let's say 12. So yeah, still a big cap, of course, but yeah, okay, you would still have made a lot of money. So yeah, why complain? You can just pay taxes, right? Maybe a little bit more now. But if you look closely, you can see something else happening that you can see on this next slide, and that is that they're actually by fiscal force taking away your Bitcoin. As you can see in this scenario, because I can imagine, yeah, with the high volatility that you cannot afford your tax pay just by the money you get from your salary. So you have to force yourself actually to sell some Bitcoin. In the first, in the current system, you would see, okay, yeah, we would have to pay a little bit, and yeah, over a period of 10 years, roughly 1 Bitcoin you would have needed to be sold. But maybe in that case, you also could have paid that just via your salary. But in the other case, you see that it's massively decreasing over time. So yeah, in that scenario, you only have 2 Bitcoin left of the initial 5 you had. So they're basically just by fiscal force, taking away your Bitcoin.
So the map is almost empty.
To conclude, as you can see on the picture, the roads that previously were there are not approachable for us anymore for generation Bitcoin. But luckily, somewhere in a distant horizon, there are some solutions that you can take to at least do something about your financial future as Gen Z.
So yeah, indeed, as Jordy mentioned, you can fix new roads, but you can find maybe some possible other solutions. One of them is, of course, why we are all here today, which is Bitcoin, basically. You can choose a different road in that perspective. And again, one of our main goals as ESBC is to educate students when it comes to these topics like wealth preservation. And of course, like again, everyone is familiar here with Bitcoin, of course. But for the students that are not yet familiar with Bitcoin, we make it very concrete by basically providing 3 steps, which is first, of course, is to educate yourself on Bitcoin, not per se crypto broadly, but just Bitcoin. Understand the characteristics of this new potential primitive. Then start small and stay consistent. One of the main topics there is to dollar cost average into this specific asset class. And then thirdly is also the sovereignty, which is also a very important point when it comes to Bitcoin, is that you can really self-custody your own assets in a way which we were not able to do previously. And of course, there are a lot of exchanges and brokers nowadays, but like we think that especially self-custody is a very important, maybe EU right in our perspective. So we should really also take that not for granted, but also make sure that we use it in the right way.
Yeah.
So these are just 3. I don't know if you want something to add.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think also that, as we see in this presentation, that the institutions that we used to rely on, they have not benefited us. So with self-custody, at least, you don't have to rely on those central parties and take those responsibility into your own hands. What also comes with responsibilities, of course. But at least you have the freedom and power to opt out if those centralized entities try to make decisions that do not benefit you. And maybe a message also to the institutions here, to help us get to that Bitcoin future. I think one of the first things is that we need to build the infrastructure. I think there are a lot of solutions now out there and keeps continuing to grow. But let's keep building on that and improving and making sure that Bitcoin is as accessible as just any other app or any other financial institution. And secondly, also, yeah, those institutions also need to provide the education
For students
for
like
students.
ourselves, right? So not only the product, and we do have a lot of parties that help us in this case when it comes to sponsoring and also educational sessions that we host throughout the year with our partners. So I think that's also really an important lesson for the institutions here. And thirdly, I mean, as I mentioned, I'm working myself, but also make it Bitcoin part of your compensation package. Um,
Yes, I think the crypto broker I work for, they offer the possibility to have a
exactly.
certain part of your salary in Bitcoin. Yes, and I think we should just should be the standard for at least Bitcoin companies, but maybe for every company in the future. Um, so to round up, thank you for being here and listening to our story. Make sure to get in contact with us if you'd like to know more. Follow us on our LinkedIn, and yes,
So both
thank
for
you.
both for students, like if you want to participate, feel free to send a message, and also for institutions, like if you want to connect with a European-wide student coalition, then make sure to send us a message.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.